What is going on, Mullen fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I'll give you a quick update as far as what is happening behind the scenes and potentially based on the technicals and so forth where Mullen might be going in the short term. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So Mullen had a crazy sell-off this morning, did hit a low and a new 52-week and all-time low of 15.8 cents. And of course, for those of you that watched my videos on potentially how low Mullen could go, that's for the most part exactly where it was called. So around 15 cents, give or take. So luckily enough for those of you that did buy, you got in at a very cheap price. But let me know your thoughts on that and give yourself a shout out as well if you did buy the dip. But as you can see right here, there was a lot of fear, and that was largely because of shorts. So I'll give you a quick update on that. And on a side note, shorts are very much just pouncing all over this fear because currently the extreme fear component is at 20. So this is the fear and greed index. And of course, behind the scenes, I think a lot of people, including myself, was a little bit more optimistic about today, largely because of this. So the US government is guaranteeing all the assets or the deposits at Silicon Valley Bank. So in general, I think that was a little bit more optimism, especially if you do couple that with, for instance, this saying the Feds might be actually cutting rates in June potentially. So that would be huge, but still, despite that, shorts are giving Mullen the middle finger. So quick update on that. They're increasing 5.71 million shares, and you can tell that based on right here as well. First thing in the morning, straight out the gate, they are the ones and only reason why it went down as much as it did. So they're trying to squeeze Mullen for all that it has. It is still on the threshold list, but of course that's not really amounting to anything, so just be aware of that. Cost to borrow, oddly, is in fact going up, so that's roughly around 14.69%. 11.37% is the short interest, and that's a percentage of the free float, estimated, of course. But I think behind the scenes, you can tell based on the options activity, people are still optimistic. And you can tell that based on all the calls that are being purchased. But just to put it in perspective on how big of a discount Mullen is at, or could be seen at, looking right here, so the return over the last year to date alone, or just the 1 year, 2 year, whatever you want to look at, the year to date though is down roughly about 41% versus the S&P is flat. So this is where a lot of people are very much just negative and kicking Mullen while it's down. But like I always say, I think in general there is a lot of problems with Mullen that I'm not here to say that there isn't. But what I prefer to focus on is the actual product. And of course, once they actually do start to fulfill those orders and potentially get new orders in the coming quarters or years, whatever it might be, then that is where you're going to see some substantial gains with Mullen. Unfortunately, as of right now though, shorts are the ones that are just trying to manipulate it to their own benefit and their own will. But once again, let me know your thoughts on that. When it comes down to, for instance, Stochastic and Momentum, you can tell a number of retail investors have been getting in, so clearly they are very much appreciating and liking this discount in Mullen. But of course, I could be wrong about that because I am not a financial advisor, so you guys do your own due diligence. At the end of the day, all I'm doing is listing points. You guys interpret that how you see fit. Stochastic, you do see a small little deviation. So black line above the red, showing a nice bullish sentiment is actually wanting to form right now. Just clearly there's a lot of suppression behind the scenes, including just the broader market as well. But it is at 3, very, very oversold. So of course, this is where, as I've said in the past, all it'll take is one good piece of news, and then in theory, Mullen could actually have a fairly good run. And like I said, and I did do a video on my other channel late last night, I would have anticipated this news would have given Mullen what it needed at least to have a nice run. But unfortunately, this is where shorts are very good at killing momentum because they double down first thing in the morning and also during power hour, which of course I think those are very much known points of good momentum for the stock in general, or just not necessarily just with Mullen, but every stock. But once again, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Just quickly going back to the technicals though, I do anticipate around that 15 cent range to hold very, very well because this is a very scary pivot point. So this is basically what you can call as a cliff. So around here, the 15 cent mark. If it does fall below that, then you can see it will be trading between the S3 and the S2. And so those are the big support ranges for Mullen. Of course, In between that is going to have a lot of big psychological support zones around the 10 cent and hold numbers, but outside of that, it does have the opportunity to really go down quite a lot. So definitely a little bit more of a scary time right now, but I think in general, with them potentially cutting rates, I think that might give the market a nice rally, what it does need. But of course, like I said, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Mullen.